Hello again. Today John will discuss issues that arise when installing a rocker assembly.
Other things I've found is nothing is perfect fit when you hire from Moss or Rimmer or whoever you get your bits and pieces from. They're close, they're probably like 95% right, but flanges are wrong, they're bent at goofy angles sometimes. Like for example, this main, I can't remember the name of it, not sill plate, but anyways, it curves up here. That was all wrong. I thought I was gonna have to like send it back, it was so wrong, and then I just put a little bit of force into it and bent it into the right shape. So you just know that you're gonna have to do that. Similarly, I've yet to weld this piece in completely. I've got a lot of tack welds around it, but this by no means is correct. It's supposed to be 5.5 inches to fit the all the other bits and pieces in here, and it's not, because it's kind of in a resting state. So you're gonna have to, like I chose to weld the top in. This top seam, I'm welding that in, and then I'm going to force this piece in to pull it in correctly so it is the 5.5 inches. But just know that that's gonna happen. So be ready for that. Of course, it's already dinged and dented. What else can I tell you? I'll just check to see what's going on. Like, I didn't have to, but I chose to buy this piece. It was only like 20 bucks or something in the grand scheme of things. But make sure that the hole lines up down here, which it isn't perfect. What's important about this piece is this, okay? Because there's a body seam here where the fender comes in like this. And similarly here, this seam is equally as important because the front fender comes in here and goes this way. So I chose to make this and this step correct. So I went out and measured my parts car and measured the distance from here to the back of the A-pillar. And then similarly, I measured the distance from this seam to this, which is, I don't want to say critical, but this is a good hard datum to have in place when you're making these measurements. I've got the center line of the car marked here, so it's exactly equal on both sides of that string. But I've been using this and this as datums. So distance from here up to here is constant, okay? And I think it was 11 inch. I don't remember what it was, but that's a constant number. And this datum, that's a constant. So you can pull distances off of that and then up to make shit line up. So that's what I've done here. I came across from here down over to here, and it matches the donor vehicles. So here's a zoom out so you can see the tunnel. There's the bits I just welded in. And here's the rear fender, left rear fender, driver fender. Just to reiterate what I pointed out in a previous video, was just how botched the work was on this thing. And so I ended up cutting, I have a full fender there, full rear quarter panel, but the problem is this T fitting here, and the fact that these three bits, the rear fender, this top plate, and then this T, are all welded on a seam, which you can see here. Well, if you cut this, it's a major pain in the ass, either with a spot welder or puddle welds, to weld anything in here. So I chose to leave about 1/4 inch here, and then I'll cut the new panel so that I am spot welding along here to install this fender. But just again, this is what I was dealing with on the chimpanzees who did the repair on this at some point in its life. Again, it's a 67. Just beautiful work, you know, 1/2 inch. It's like 3/4 of an inch of Bondo right there on top of lattice. So again, there was nothing was right back here. This whole side of the car was like a 1/2 inch too thick compared to, you know, what it should be. So with that panel gone, it exposed some damage here that now I've got to fix on the inner fender. And then again, I got to put a new the piece that goes here. But that actually gets welded along this top edge of the fender. If you can imagine my finger, the fender's coming here like this. And here, the web here, that mounts to the fender. And that's critical, as is the distance from here to the A-pillar. So what I think I'm gonna do is when I'm ready, when this is all cleaned up, is I'm going to weld in the fender and this piece here. I guess it's the B-pillar, I think about it. And then put it in place and clamp it here and weld it along this. And then hopefully it'll line up here and be beautiful and nice. So that's the plan for that. Just between other stuff, I've been whittling away at the battery boxes. I just welded this piece in. This one I did a while back. That was all terrible. This one is, they're all terrible. So this one I just got the old stuff cut out, and I'm ready to welding a new piece for that. And then put the cross bracing in those. Other than that, that's just phosphoric acid. Just kind of trying to protect it a little bit while I'm in between getting ready to prime it and all that stuff. That's all that is. Okay, other than that, things are moving along. So again, all this is a, I was trying to figure out where that little nut and bolt were from, and somehow it goes here. I'm not sure what it was for, but it goes there. But again, this was all gone also, so I had nothing to register this. So you gotta start finding datums.
John, could you please explain what a datum is for me and how they are used?
It's a plane, something flat or something, yeah, something flat in space that you can measure from. So in this case, it's this piece here is important. This plane here is important. This is important to get this direction, up and down. A plane like this one is for getting directions this way. Equally, when you get to here, it's easier to pull dimensions off this direction and check against your center line, which is my string. Just a little video snippet. When you order these kits, comes with 4 or 5 pieces, braces and stuff, and you get this little guy. And I looked quite a bit on the web, and I could not find reference to this as to where it went. But as you start putting this stuff together, it'll kind of dawn on you that I remember a shape like that. And sure enough, at the end here, this is an end cap that fits in here like that. Of course it's black, so you can't see anything, but it does fit in there quite well. And then you can weld it here. A couple of places you can get it around here and across there. Just keep stuff from going in there. I think what I'm going to do, I've been you know, treating it for rust, even though it's new, but along the welds, I've been treating it for rust, and then I'm putting in a coat of epoxy, 2-part epoxy all in here. What I think I'm gonna do now is that now that all these bits are kind of welded together, I'm going to stick a tube down in here and spray, you know, all around in there as I'm pulling the tube out this way, right, spraying. Just one last coating in there. Not sure what I'm going to use yet. It might just be epoxy again, but something that's thick, because this is just, we're in Florida here, and something that's big and hollow like this is just a condensation maker. So even though it's not rain you're talking about, inside of this thing, water will condense and pool along this edge, and then you're hosed. There's not, you know, so I've got to do everything I can to make this tube completely waterproof, so that anything that does form in there, let alone go in there, so maybe through these holes, splashing through puddles, this is the bottom of the car, my hand, right, obviously. This has to be just sealed with something really good, because that's where water is just going to sit and then just rust through like it has since 1967.
See you soon. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for John.